Welcome to Just for Today, March 19th, 2019. Something valuable to share. Basic text, page 51. You're in a meeting. This sharing has been going on for some time. One or two members have described their spiritual experiences in an especially meaningful way. Another has had us rolling in the aisles with entertaining stories, and then the leader calls on you. Gulp. You shyly introduce yourself, apologetically stammer out a few lines, thank everyone for listening, and sit out the rest of the meeting in embarrassed silence. Sound familiar? Well, you're not alone. We've all had times when we felt that what we had to share wasn't spiritual enough, wasn't entertaining enough, wasn't something enough. But sharing is not a competitive sport. The meat of our meetings is identification and experience, something all of us have in abundance. When we share from our hearts and the truth of our experience, other addicts feel they can trust us because they simply know we're just like them. When we simply share what's been effective in our lives, we can be sure that our message will be helpful to others. Our sharing doesn't have to be either fancy or funny or ring true. Every addict working an honest program that brings meaningful recovery has something of immense value to share, something no one else can give, his or her own experience. Just for today, I have something valuable to share. I will attend a meeting and share my experience in recovery from addiction. It's very common for me to make sharing into a competition. I like to have a good share. I like to have a profound share. I want to, work a little comedy in there. I want to work a little like brutal truth in there. But it takes a while to get to that point where you're comfortable sharing like this. And usually it takes a certain ability of comfort at some meetings. Like sometimes they just come out. You're just in that space where you're ready for a good share and you just share honestly from the heart, and that, comes out quite naturally. The best shares I have had are when I'm sharing for a newcomer. But it is also the case where I used to think, and I still think sometimes, that if I'm in a good mood and really positive about something and then someone shares something negative, I almost feel like, oh, how can I change up this, the emotional state of this room right now? Am I kind of hijacking the conversation? And the truth is, you're not going to be in the same emotional state as everyone else in the room. So are you hijacking the conversation? Yes, you probably are. But you should hijack the conversation. You should not hear someone speak in a positive light and then, okay, it gets turned to you and you're not feeling positive. Don't bullshit some positive story. Because when you bullshit something like that, that's when sharing's going to get really hard. And that's when you're going to sound like a dumbass. If you share honestly about something that's completely opposite of what the person before you shared, like completely emotional, the emotional south to the emotional north, then you're still going to have a great opportunity to speak from the heart. Sharing is one of those things that takes time. When you first start sharing, you're going to not be great at it. That's just the truth. But everyone has the ability to be good at it right from the start, which is kind of a catch-22. But it's all about honesty. It's all about from the heart, not from the mind. You don't want to be that person that's planning out your share in your head. being like, oh, well, fuck, they're probably going to ask me to share in a bit, so I'll just, what am I going to say? What am I going to say in my head? You don't want to be doing that. You want to just have what you need to say ready to go. But that doesn't mean pre-planning. That might sound like pre-planning, but it's not. Because pre-planning that share comes from the mind. And just sharing honestly is being like, okay, what's going on with me today? And then start talking about it. That's from the heart. When you just start talking about what you're feeling. Your mind pre-plans and censors and calculates what you think other people should be able to hear, and that's the liar, the addict, and every other deceptive part of you at work. So don't listen to that. Share what you're feeling without remorse for other people. That might sound even nasty, but you're supposed to share about you, and the more honest you share, the more people will be drawn to you, and the more friends you're gonna make. Now, is it great to make tons of friends? It's good to have some in recovery. So when you're first starting out, you should make some connections. And the best way to do that is by sharing honestly. It's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to think that this program is bullshit. It's okay to be questioning things about the program. It's okay to be not 100% sure on, well, everyone says that this is a spiritual, not religious program. It's okay to question that. It's okay to share whatever is honestly bubbling up inside you. Whatever you're feeling, whatever feels like it's trying to come out of your soul, you can share. No matter how silly you may think it is. Because other people for sure are thinking that same way. You would be surprised at the amount of times when you think that you're going to say something that's completely off base and completely your own solo thought, when really it's a thought and a feeling that every single addict in the room has experienced. So don't be afraid to share from the heart. Don't be pre-planning your shares. Just let it out. When it's your turn to share, just start talking about how you're feeling. Start talking about your day. Talk about your week. Yeah, and a lot of meetings are topic meetings, and they have certain topics and honesty, or they have 3 different topics. Don't be one of those people that has to touch on every topic. And if you're in your first couple of years, you shouldn't even be worried about speaking on the topics at all. You are there to talk about what's going on with you. No one's really interested in your take on honesty. You don't know what honesty is. I don't know what honesty is. So when you have a new person who thinks that they need to share on each topic and is preaching to a room full of, recovered addicts who are, 5, 10, 15 years clean, you just look silly. And that's not sharing from your heart. That's distracting sharing from your heart because you think it would be less intimidating to just give your 2 cents on the topics. That's fucking bullshit. Don't do that. Share about what's going on inside and how you're feeling. And if the topic ties into that, great. If not, who gives a fuck? You don't have to follow these topics. These topics are at best suggestions. The topics are for the heavyweights in recovery who've got 10, 15 years clean to lay down some knowledge for the new people to soak up. That's what the topics are for. Other than that, So, unless you're a heavyweight in recovery, which if you're watching this, you're probably not, you should just share about yourself from the heart, honestly. Thanks for tuning in. Have a happy 24, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Heavy Brown, out.